What up, gamers? It is Will777JP, and we are back with another one. And before I even tell you guys what this video is about, which you'll know by the title, but so I'm gonna play this clip, not the whole thing, but just a little bit of it. And this video is from YouTube, from the Game Awards channel, and the title of the video is Callisto Protocol World Premiere at the Game Awards 2020. Okay, so let's go ahead and play a little bit of this. Let's do a full screen, turn the camera sideways, and hit play.
Now, every year leading into the show, there's always a lot of speculation, a lot of games that you might be anticipating, but there are always a few you're not expecting. Like this one. Check out this world premiere.
See this? Something ain't right.
And there you have it. That is the intro to Callisto Protocol. Now, this introduction to Callisto Protocol, let's finish out what Jeff is going to say here, because I think this is important as well.
Vibes, and there's little wonder why. You know him from his work on Dead Space and Call of Duty. Here's the CEO of Striking Distance Studios, Glenn Schofield. Hey, Glenn.
Hey, thanks, Jeff. Well, the Callisto Protocol has been in development for over a year and a half with a team of well over 100 people on it. It's a single-player,
A year and a half. Video Game Award Show 2020, December. So we're talking June 2018, right? Because 6 months, that would be the half. That would take it to 19. And then a year later, that would take it to 2020. So a year and a half. So 2019, halfway through the year.
person, story-driven survival horror game set in the year 2320 on Jupiter's moon of Callisto. Our goal is to make the single most scariest game for PC and consoles, and we're so excited to be able to show it here tonight.
So there we have it, right? So Jeff, or I'm sorry, not Jeff, Glenn, the CEO at the time, told us they've been working on this for a year and a half. We see that the Game Awards put this video up 4 years ago. This is the 2020 Video Game Awards, December. Year and a half before that was 2018, roughly in June, give or take. That's when they started. Now, let's get over here. So this article is from PlayStation Lifestyle. And the title is New Dead Space 4 Report Leaves Fans Disappointed. Okay, let's click on this. The article was written December 23rd, which is today's date. And it says here by Michael Ruiz, Dead Space is one of the most beloved horror games of all time. The recent remake of the original may have given fans hope for EA potentially thinking about doing a new entry. Unfortunately, Dead Space 4 was pitched recently, but EA turned it down. Dead Space 4 pitched to EA this year, but was denied. In a recent interview with Dan Allen Gaming, original Dead Space creators Glenn Schofield, Brett Robbins, and Christopher Stone discussed pitching Dead Space 4 to EA earlier this year. While they tried, talks of a new entry didn't go too deep and seemed to be rejected pretty quickly. Well, we didn't get too deep. They just said no. We're not interested right now. We appreciate it. Blah, 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 blah. And we know who to talk to. So we didn't go take it any further, and we respect their opinion. They know their numbers and what they have to ship and all that, says Schofield. Stone credits the current state of the industry as a potential reasoning behind EA's decision not to greenlight Dead Space 4. The industry is in a weird place right now, says Stone. People are really hesitant to take chances on things, so you got to, take it with a grain of salt. Who knows? Maybe one day. I think we'd all love to do it. The Dead Space remake was released back in January 2023. Keep that date in mind. Dead Space remake was released back in January 2023. It did very well, critically receiving an 89 Metascore on Metacritic. Our reviewer, Jason Faulkner, gave it a 9 out of 10. However, despite positive reviews, the remake did not meet EA's sales expectations. Oh, excuse me. It was reported earlier this year that Dead Space 4 or a remake of Dead Space 2 were in the works by Motive. However, due to the remake not hitting sales targets, the project was scrapped. Okay, so Will, what the hell does all this have to do with each other? The reason Dead Space 2 remake is not being worked on or Dead Space 4 was shut down is because Glenn Schofield isn't working on a new Callisto Protocol. Because he's not working on another horror game like Callisto Protocol or Dead Space. What? What do you mean by that, Will? Well, let's do a little bit of Googling. Development on Dead Space remake began in July 2021 at Motive. GamesBeat journalist Jeff Grubb speculated that the success of other games such as Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order and the Resident Evil remakes influenced the decision to greenlight the project. Development on Dead Space remake began July 2021. The game came out when? When did we say? Let's go back here real quick. January 2023. 2023. Literally 2.5 years after production started, the game got released. Now, let's go back to the Video Game Awards. When did we say that the game came out or got worked on, Callisto Protocol? June, roughly, 2018, and announced to the public in 2020. Now, am I being a conspiracy theorist by saying that Glenn Schofield announced his new game, Callisto Protocol, which is the creator of Dead Space 1, left, worked in Call of Duty, then went to go work on Callisto Protocol, announced the game in 2020, and then the fucking dickheads over at EA said, wait a minute, that looks a lot like Dead Space. We can't allow Glenn, the creator of Dead Space, to outdo us on our own shit. So maybe did they rush the development of Dead Space? Or not rush the development, but rush the process. The agreeing of, okay, this is a new IP we're going to work on. These are the plans. Did they rush all that shit to try to get this game out into the market before Callisto Protocol? It sure seems like it. It sure fucking seems like it. All while at the same time saying, no, we're not gonna do a Dead Space 2, we're not gonna do a remake of Dead Space 2, we're not gonna do a Dead Space 4. Nope, fuck that. That's why I said that maybe if Glenn said, hey, we're gonna work on Callisto Protocol 2, or we're gonna work on something like Dead Space, maybe then EA will greenlight another Dead Space. It's just crazy how the video game industry can work at times. And, the crazy thing about all this, and yes, of course it got done with Dead Space really freaking quick, man. Really, really quick. But you have to understand, they had a lot of the information from Dead Space 1. They didn't have to create new characters. They didn't have to create new environments. All that was already created. They just had to remake it, which is much less of a complicated process, right? You're literally tracing over a piece of art that was already drawn, right? That original piece of art, that is the most complicated thing because you're starting from literally scratch. Where when you're doing a remake, all you're doing is throwing a sheet of paper on top of it, tracing it, tracing the outlines, and then doing your thing with it. You don't have to create absolutely everything from scratch. But I just want to show you guys that because I've seen this article go through the social media wires today, and I just think it's so unfortunate. And then also, Crafton, wait, is it Crafton? I don't know. The people that released Callisto Protocol, the game was actually released earlier than it should have. It should have released in 2024, but it released in 2023 December instead. It got pushed early, and that was the detriment of the game because the game wasn't ready, and they try to push it out before for financial reasons. They try to push it out, quarter early, fiscal quarter earlier than the game was expected, and that really screwed Glenn over. On top of the losses of people or developers that he had during that time, and it was just a big clusterfuck. So, yeah, just want to go over this stuff real quick with you guys. Let me know what you think, man. Did EA try to play Glenn with Dead Space, or was it, you know? Was it just their idea, right? Like, oh, hey, it's got nothing to do with Glenn. But let's see if we can find out the numbers real quick. Google, how many copies of Dead Space Remake sold? Let's see if we can get that number real quick. 2 million copies were sold of the Dead Space Remake. By the way, expectations were 5 million, but 2 million is nothing, I guess. So, yeah. Just so you guys, so just to give you another example, here, let's look up Silent Hill 2 remake, sold. So, recent release remake Silent Hill 2 sold more than 1 million copies first week, making it the fastest selling entry in the series. So, Silent Hill remake is a complete hit with 2 million copies, but Dead Space remake at 2 million was a failure. Interesting. So hold up. Let's see what is 60 by 2 million. What is it? 120 million? Oh, I'm sorry. Not divided by 60 multiplied by 2 million. Yeah, 120 million. Okay, just making sure my math wasn't wrong. You know what I mean? Because what was the cost to make Dead Space? Let's see, cost to make Dead Space remake. I don't know if Google's gonna give us that. Yeah, but sheesh, I wonder how much. Oh, hold up. Dead Space is a one-on-one remake of an already existing game, so it didn't need as much time, money. I actually think its budget might be around 30-40 million at most, keeping in mind that Alan Wake 2's budget was just 55 million euros. Nothing confirmed, just throwing some stuff out there. You guys let me know what you think. Otherwise, we'll catch you in the next one. Keep it gaming.